think you said that, this year kind of your push is to trying to ffigure out clinical services and making sure you can do it in such a way where you're really not, I'm sure what you're trying to do is positively impact, your bottom line along with taking care of your community. What's some of those services you guys are kind of looking at and going, obviously probably vaccinations one, but like what's some of the stuff you guys are looking at?
So right now, I mean, the whole trick of this, and we've all been trying for many, many years, and I know there's some successful CPSN pharmacies out there, but I personally gauge the success a little differently because of breaking even, although you're giving services to the community, you got to do more than break even, and you got to make a little more money, especially if you're going to like redesign this, this model, right? Because again, the prescription volume still drives the ship to this day. As much as we don't want to say that,
right,
we know it does, and it drives the cost of goods, and it drives everything related to your bottom line. And so my focus is really this year for our group is primarily we're focused on the immunization part, vaccination part right now, because we know, or at least we're being told, that is some real money out there on the commercial space when you're going to flip from billing it to the PBM on the pharmacy side through like Pioneer to getting it onto the medical side.
On the major med side.
Okay. Yeah, to credentialing with the plans and then contracting with them. And so I'm going to challenge myself, and I'm going to go on this podcast and say, I guarantee by this time next year, we will be billing all of our immunizations and vaccinations on the commercial side to the payer. And so that's my charge for 2022.
All right.
And the reason I chose the vaccines, and I really, I get in these meetings with people, and they probably hate me because I speak up too loud. But the bottom line is we can get into, diabetes management, medication management, all these things that we have to hire more people for, but we've yet to figure out how to get enough revenue to hire those people. Vaccinations and immunizations is low-hanging fruit. And if you can go from a $40 flu shot to an $80 or $120 flu shot, and you're doing 2,000 of them, boom, you just have the money right now to hire those people to then advance out those services. And so obviously the services are going to include right at this moment, COVID testing,
sure,
COVID vaccination, monoclonal antibody therapy.
Okay.
I mean, that's the sexy word right now.
Right.
Yeah. I think that's going to dwindle with Merck's oral product, getting approved.
Yeah. Okay.
It's going to end up being probably a Tamiflu-like situation where you got COVID, you got a symptoms, go get your Tamiflu. Get a 7-day course or whatever, 8-day course of whatever. Right. So I'm not sure where that monoclonal antibody is going to go, but today there's some real money there. And then get into some strep testing. But still, I always come back to the vaccines, right? Why are we not pushing our TDAPs? And I'm sure there's pharmacies that are going to listen to this and they're going to say, hey, I'm doing that right now. And they are.
And some of them are, sure. Yeah, some of them aren't, though.
Yeah, they are. But the majority of us aren't maximizing that. Looking at the patient profile and saying, hey, you're due for a pneumovax booster, or you're due for your shingles shot, or travel vaccines. So there's real money there, and that's why I'm focusing on that aspect of it first, because that will create the revenue to build the program.
Oh, gotcha. So really focus on a really strong vaccination immunization program first, step one, and then you can advance, like you said, advance into if you want to do CCM or diabetes management, education, et cetera.
Well, and I think I've told a bunch of people this as well. Like, I've always been a big fan of public health in general, and it's one of those areas that has always been meh. And pharmacies have a huge ability to do this. And COVID proved that clearly, that pharmacy had a big way to move public health forward with COVID shots. Vaccines are that first step into public health, but there's so much other things that go behind public health that pharmacy can do. Community resources, social determinants, all of that stuff kind of comes around public health and, hopefully public health grants.
Yeah, and we're actually, our store out in Grants Pass, Michelle Belcher, who is NCPA president right now.
Yes, she is
doing a lot of that in conjunction with public health and the state of Oregon, and we are seeing some real revenue dollars there with her. So she's actually piloting a bunch of this for us, and being a leader in exactly what the charge of NCPA is on the CPSN side. So I'm super proud of her, and actually the dollars are starting to show up there. So
And that's nice.
But that is, that's that public health, that's that county, state, funded type stuff. We still have to figure out this medical billing, and this will actually a couple of calls this week, I hear of some pharmacies that have set up separate clinics, and then they're using the clinic billing numbers to get into that medical space, which makes sense. And I know that a lot of people say, well, now we're giving up our rights of a pharmacist and, provider and all this kind of stuff.
Throwing in the towel on that, maybe.
But if we keep banging our head against the wall and the result's the same, I think, what is that? That's the definition of insanity or something?
Yeah, that's what I keep telling.
Stupidity.
Expecting a different result.
And so why don't we adapt a little and put a clinic in? What's CVS? What's Walgreens? Do they not have these clinics inside? Darn well they're billing on the medical side for that stuff.
Right. But yeah, that's why they hire a PA.
So I'm looking into that right now. I have a call Friday and to talk with a guy that's supposedly doing quite a bit of this. And from what I've heard, he said the majority of his revenue now comes from the medical billing side and his pharmacy clinic versus his prescriptions. So we'll see. There's a lot of what ifs out there, but we'll see if this is really true. And if it is, I'm going to find out how he did it.
Yeah, interesting. Just the legal entity and how you credential all of that. What do you hire? Right? Who's
exactly?
Right?
Actually, I'm looking to steal a clinical pharmacist from one of these software companies for honesty, but and then have them come in and develop the program for all the stores.
That's interesting.
Just stay out of Pioneer, Jeff.
Yes.
Yeah, I've already gotten a little trouble there, guys. So.